A busy but smart summer is ahead for Hull City. Hello there and welcome back to the HullCityFanCentral YouTube channel, where today I'll be cracking through all of the rumoured Hull City transfer signings for this summer's transfer window. We're 4 days in now as it opened up on Friday, and there's still been no official announcements yet, but I'll be going through every player that's rumoured to come to the MKM Stadium in this video. So first of all, start off with a man who has been rumoured to come to Hull City for a few seasons now, and that's Shankland. So he's obviously over in Germany at the moment, as part of Scotland's team for this European Championship tournament. And it didn't go well for them in the first game, did it? 5-1 loss to Germany. He came on, I think, a minute before Rudiger scored the own goal, which was Scotland's only goal so far in the tournament. But he has been doing wonders over at Hearts. He's been there for 2 seasons now, got near enough 100 appearances for Hearts, and during that time, just shy of 60 goals, which is a fantastic feat for Hearts and also for him as a player. About 10 assists or so during that as well, so we won't be getting him for his assists, but we'll be certainly grabbing him for his goals if he does actually make the move to the MKM Stadium. As I say, he has been a rumoured target for Hull City for quite some time now. I think last summer was a big push for him. I think we went again from in January, and it sounds like we're going again for him right now. Whether this is the striker that Adrian is probably putting majority of his money down on, and then it'll probably be a big benefit in the club's long term with what he's doing currently over at Hearts. As I say, only 2 seasons there and producing fantastic numbers, creating a massive name for himself over in Scotland. We'll go through a few little player traits on him because I think these are quite some feats for the 28-year-old. Chances created an 88% among other forwards, touches a 93%, shot attempts a 96%, and goals are a 94%. So shot attempts are a 96%, and then the goals from that are a 94%. There's only a 2% differential there, and that is fantastic. He takes his chances, but the chances he takes do result in goals, bar the little 2%, but the 2% means absolutely nothing. So Shankland, he is a player to watch out for where he does end up this summer, hopefully it being Hull City. So let's go over to another player that is first time rumoured player to come to Hull City, or certainly first time that I am fully aware of, and he's just been released by Sheffield United, and that's Oliver Norwood. We've gone through this a few times already on this channel leading up to the transfer window, but now that it's open, and obviously Oliver Norwood would be coming in on a free transfer. That's a big deal with a lot of these rumours and stuff, is free transfers, because we can't be splashing the cash on buying the players from different clubs, because that is not really what we can do at the moment. We've only got 50 million that Adrian's allowed to spend out of his pocket due to FFP, and then obviously we do have the resulting money that we get from selling players like Jacob Greaves and Jane Philogene, which possibly will be departing us for quite a nice fee this summer. So Oliver Norwood would be a brilliant signing. He is 33 years old, coming off a bit of a subpar season in the Premier League with Sheffield United. But as I say, majority of the players in that Sheffield United side had a subpar season. If we're looking back at the years, though, he had done wonders, a real consistent player for Sheffield United the season beforehand in the Premier League. And, of course, if we're rolling it back to when Sheffield United were in the Championship the season before that, another fantastic season for him. Very consistent. Consistency is key in the name of Oliver Norwood. So we would be really bringing him in probably as a bench player at the start, just sort of as we gauge the system, and then I can see him playing alongside Seri, maybe coming in and replacing Seri in certain situations, where maybe we're in the 60th, 70th minute mark and Seri's looking a little bit knackered out there after playing Tuesday, Saturday, so we could see Oliver Norwood getting shake up in the rotation there. So I think it'll be overall a good acquisition for Hull City, especially with it being on a free transfer, and Norwood seems like the kind of player that can really help this Hull City side under Tim Volter. So Oliver Norwood, certainly another one to watch out for. This is a key one to watch out for, not just for Hull City, but for the player itself. It's really going to be a telltale sign for the future of James McConnell. So we've gone through this one as well on the channel. As it was first reported as a rumour a few weeks ago. James McConnell, obviously a fantastic youngster over in the Liverpool setup. I believe he comes from Newcastle or that way on. So certainly a proud telling of the North, if one must say that. But he hasn't featured too many times for Liverpool in a senior capacity, only making 9 appearances, and that being a variety of friendlies and cup games and a few games in the Premier League as well, only contributing with 1 assist, and his rating hasn't been too well amongst that. But of course, that is playing for Liverpool in the upper echelon of English football, playing against the top teams in England and also considered the top teams in the world. So a very tough test for the 19-year-old, who was also born one day before me. So that's a fun little fact. Would you rather be supporting Hull City and sat here, or playing for Liverpool? Yeah, it's kind of a shock to the system, that one. But a fantastic youngster nonetheless. Wonders he's done in the academy setup for Liverpool. That has been a big telltale sign of what James McConnell can do in the future. I think a loan for him would be perfect at this current time. He's not going to contribute anything further from the academy, and I think a loan out would benefit him. And of course, Hull City do have the links with Liverpool now, with us pretty much having a fantastic season with both Tyler Morton and Fabio Carvalho, really shaping them forwards, and possibly them both being in contentions to be a part of that Liverpool squad next season. So I don't think that there will be any shadow of a doubt that Liverpool would not be happy to do a dealing with us again. And with it being James McConnell, one of their younger prize assets, I think that would be a fantastic one. Now, this is one that may twist a few heads. Josh Windass has turned down the contract at Sheffield Wednesday. It's been reported, so he will not be there any further. So it would be another free acquisition, I believe. Josh Windass, of course, son of Hull City legend hero, the Messiah that got us to the Premier League the first time, Dean Windass. So, yeah, a little bit of a dealing there. Josh Windass has openly stated, though, before that he does not want to come to Hull City. Hull City have put the interest in alongside Bristol City, I believe, as the only 2 sort of front runners at the moment. It's gonna be a tough telling one with Windass. Of course, another tough season with Sheffield Wednesday, just narrowly missing out on relegation. With 28 games played last season, 7 goals and 2 assists for him. Of course, looking at the season beforehand, where he was in League One, and the season before that as well, where he played a combined games of 54 games across them 2 seasons, grabbing himself 20 goals and 9 assists to go along with that, with a quite a nice average match rating. So, whether it was just a poor season last season, whether he didn't really fit into the whole system setup at Sheffield Wednesday under Danny Roll, that could be a case. He is 30 years old now, so he is sort of getting on. Maybe for his style of play, it would benefit a little bit more coming into the Hull City setup, and maybe being that second striker option off the bench when Oscar Estupiñán, if he returns, to get him off his feet, or vice versa. You don't really know. It would be another free transfer hit, I believe, and I think that you can't go overly wrong in the free transfer market as long as they produce enough to combat the wages, really. And Josh Windass, of course, having a little bit of heritage at the club with his father, might be a nice little piece for Adjan, Tan and Tim Volta to bring to the club. But I think that one is more of a controversial claim rather than a proper football statistic claim. Now, a new one that I haven't heard of but until today, that being Mark Leonard of Brighton and Hove Albion. So he has spent the last 2 seasons over at Northampton Town. I believe either loan games or the stats are completely wrong. But both seasons playing nearly 50 games as the midfielder. Very, very consistent on both cases. A very good consistency rating. Grabbing 6 goals across the past 2 seasons and 7 assists. I think that he would possibly be the better case rather than Oliver Norwood to come in and partner up with Seri in that central defensive midfielder partnership, really sort of taking the ball, shaping it through, getting into the attack with that Tim Walter style of play, which we're excited to see. He's only 22 years old as well, so if he does come in on a permanent deal, it would be a nice sort of addition for maybe when Seri leaves at the end of the season or the end of next season. It would be the sort of the passing the torch moment, what we missed out on our Bird last season, I think. So 22 years old. Across other midfielders, he's a 97 per touch rating, which is fantastic for a midfielder. Of course, he's come through Brighton's academy, done nice things there. Trusted out at Northampton Town 2 seasons and produced fantastic wonders there. And he's also played 2 senior games for Brighton back in the 2021-22 season, with an average match rating of a 7.1 across them 2 games, which is nothing too shabby. So as I say, I personally think that would be the better acquisition rather than Oliver Norwood, but we will wait and see, of course, because Norwood would be the free transfer, and I don't think that he would be. So, one that would be a free transfer, because he has been released from Huddersfield Town, and that is Diarra. So Diarra comes off the back of 2 seasons with Huddersfield. Of course, Huddersfield Town last season, a little bit subpar, and his performances was a little bit subpar. Well, they have been for the past 2 seasons. So it would be another one, a little bit similar to the Oliver Norwood, where it'd be a free transfer hit, and you'd just be looking for enough to make on the wages. Of course, he's 20 years old, Diarra, so he's still got a lot to prove, a lot to shape within his career. 20 years old, last season 23 games with 2 assists, season beforehand 21 games with 2 assists for Huddersfield Town. Really shining moment was for the 2021-22 season, where he spent 13 games at Harrogate Town, grabbing 1 goal, 3 assists, all from that attacking midfielder winger department's place, with an average match rating of a 7.1 across them 13 games. So it certainly would be an interesting acquisition. Certainly has got the defensive stats along him, as compared to other attacking midfielders and wingers. He has a 94% on the defensive action. So it would be an interesting acquisition, possibly one to come into maybe a little bit of a reserve role as of start, and then when he really sort of gets going, gets full sails going, he can probably maybe become a featured part of that City squad. Certainly into that sort of Christmas stretch where we'll have a few injuries, and we could really do with some depth in the squad. Josh Murphy now. Well, he's still proving that he can do the action, isn't he? After scoring both goals in the League One playoff final for Oxford United, promoting them to the Championship. But Hull City are on the radar to make sure that we're not playing against him next season, but he is with the Tigers. As he's 29 years old now, so cracking on a little bit, but still producing the numbers. Past 2 seasons at Oxford United, he has had just over 50 games played, 10 goals across that, all 10 coming from last season, and the assists being 8 assists across the past 2 seasons. Of course, he's attacking midfielder / winger department once again, so it would be a fantastic acquisition. Of course, with his dealings last season in League One, does increase his transfer value a little bit more, especially after grabbing a brace, the only 2 goals in the League One playoff final, which will increase his value a little bit higher. Of course, Josh Murphy has been round the block. He would be a good acquisition to have under Tim Walter in his first managerial stint outside of Germany. He's played Oxford United, Preston, Cardiff, Norwich, and then a few other clubs that I can't remember off the top of my head, but he has been around the block. He played very consistently last season in League One. And I think it would be an overall okay acquisition if we can get it for the right fee. You don't want to be splashing too much cash on a player like Josh Murphy at the moment. Whether the situation was different with financial fair play, maybe you could see them splashing out maybe a little bit more than what he is worth on face value and seeing what you get from him there. But it's really about getting the right price. Okay, the last player is a Turkish link, of course, there's always one, or 50, or more, in fact, 1,000. And that is Maya Zajc. Probably butchered that entire name. But the Slovakian player, of course, he is in the Slovakian international team, and I believe that he's over at the Euros currently, ready to play his first game today. Past 3 seasons at Fenerbahce, he contributed with near enough 100 appearances, and alongside that, a nice statistic of, I think, 16 goals and 5 assists across that. Last season wasn't too good for him, only having 21 appearances and 2 goals with no assists recorded, and his average match rating wasn't too high. But the season beforehand, he got a good average match rating, and the results were there to prove it. So he's maybe looking for a little bit of a kick on from the last season. He is a midfielder at the end of the day, and that's probably a department that Hull City are looking to strengthen after losing a few players, and also a few departing loan players. So he does have the good statistics in the midfield department, with an 85% goal ratio to other midfielders, and shot attempts at 79%. So a good shot conversion rate there again. It would be a bit of a big fee, though, coming from a stakeholder in Europe, being Fenerbahce. Of course, with Adjan El-Jali having being put on the board over at Fenerbahce, and being part of that fan ownership system, but being part of the president's sort of ring circle, maybe could have this being a loan move, or a bit of a decreased value on the transfer market, as he's currently around about 4 or 5 mil rumoured on the transfer market. So that would be quite a hefty chunk out of that 50 mil that Adjan's got to play with at the moment. So I think that using Adjan's links certainly will benefit us this off-season, and certainly benefit Tim Volter in his little reshape of the City squad heading into this upcoming season. So let me know down in the comments what you think about all these transfer rumours. Of course, I will keep you up to date on everything Hull City throughout this summer transfer window, and I'll officially announce hopefully some of these players, and hopefully plenty more, along with all of the transfer rumours coming through this summer. So make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you do not miss out on any of that, and up the Tigers!